Hey guys, it's Carl Brown for GuitarLessons365.com. Today we're going to continue our look at Since I've Been Loving You by Led Zeppelin. And as before in the first video, can't really perform the sections in full. So I'm just going to show it to you phrase by phrase. We're going to cover the second verse and the second chorus, and then the main guitar solo in this one. Which one? Just phrase by phrase. Can't do a full performance because of the, it could be muted or the audio could be a copyright problem. So we're just going to stick with these phrases here, but we'll just go in order here. Now this verse starts like this, the second verse. Alright, so we have our arpeggiated picking thing just across a couple of different chords. It's not completely consistent, but there is a pattern that he repeats the most of the time, about 70% of the time. So I'll show you that one, and you can just do that one over and over again and it'll sound fine. So the chords that he's using here, it's just, he's going to start with this, a C minor chord here. So third fret on the A, 5 on the D and the G, 4th fret on the B. Now in the beginning he just kind of picks up and down through it, and then you just pick up the second finger and make it a C sus2 chord. So this. But the main pattern that you'll hear him play throughout this is this shape. So let me just show you that real quick. It's around the same two chords. 3rd fret on the A string. Then you're going to pick across from the B to the G to the D. Then back to the B and back to the G. So it's just a 6 notes, and then release the second finger and do the same thing. So he does that most of the time. Alright, and now we're going to take it to the F chord. So we're just based off that, off an F minor shape. So that's just going to be a bar across the 1st fret on the first 3 strings while playing the 3rd fret on the D. So a lot of the same picking pattern there too. Just on those, you're playing the D string there, and then 2, 3, 4, 2, 3. Now do the same thing again, except the last 2 strings go across the top 2 strings. So this. Now we're going to add a little melody note on top. It's going to be the 3rd fret on the D, and then you're going to play with your pinky the 3rd fret on the high E, and then pick across the B and the G, and then keep holding those notes and play the 1st string and the 2nd. So it is. All right, so that's. And then release that pinky there, so it's just back to the standard F minor bar. And you play through it just the very first time you play through it. And then we're back to the. And then we have this. That's some familiar chord shapes we did earlier on the first video. 5th fret on the G, 6th on the A, and then 3 on the G, 5 on the A, into this, back to an F minor, but we're going to be playing basically 3rd fret on the A and the D, and borrowing the 1st fret of the G and the B on the. And he does a little bit of arpeggiated picking across that. Just kind of just nice and easy. It's very lightly low in the dynamics. All right, and then you just strums the chord, open G string, and strums the chord again. And then we start building up to the chorus. Sounds like this. All right, so we're basically sliding into this shape that we know from before. 5 on the G, 6 on the A string. Sorry. So you got to mute that string in the middle. So we have. So you're sliding into it, and you continually pick it 4 times, and then. Basically takes us into the chorus, so it's just play it just back and forth between 1 fret. Go to the full G minor. It's just similar to the first chorus that we did in the first lesson. G minor chord, and then Alright, so I'm not going to really cover that because we did that in the first lesson. It just ends pretty much the same as the first chorus. So let's start taking a look at this guitar solo. Now I've really kind of broken up this guitar solo into 5 long phrases. Alright, so we're going to go through each phrase one at a time, and I'll play each phrase first, and then we'll break it down note for note. So here we go. Alright, so that's the first phrase. It's a really long run there, descending, kind of pentatonic thing, descending and ascending. So let's take a look at it here. We're going to start here with a standard blues lick. Bend on the G, the 10th fret, into the 8th fret on the B, 8th fret on the high E string. Then you're going to pull off twice, 11 to 8 on the B. 10 on the G, 8 on the B, back to 10 on the G, and that 10 is going to be pulled off to the 8th fret. So far. Alright, now we're working our way down, 10th fret on the D, to 8th fret on the G, back to 10th on the D. Alright, now we have a quick little 8 hammered on the 10, pull back off to 8. The 10 on the A, back to 8, back to that 10. Basically do the same lick here now, jump down to the 6th fret on the A string. So he's doing a lot of kind of that little lick. That's a little pattern that he's kind of taking through the scale. So when we get down here, hammer on 6 to 8 to 8 on the low E, back to that 6, and when you come to the 8, slide up to 10 and roll across the 8s on the D and the G string. It's a lot of notes, so I'm going to go through it slow real quick. Alright, so from there, you're going to play 10, pull off to 8, and then we're going to do this basically 10 on the D, pull off 10 to 8 on the G, back to the 10th. You're going to basically repeat that lick twice. So coming back from that slide, back to the 8 on the G now, and back to the 10 on the D for a couple of times. Gonna kind of sustain it a little bit. And he's slowing down at this part, and then we have a couple So that's just 8 on the G, a couple of bends of the 10th fret, back to the 8, and then 10th fret a few times. All right, from there we have this. All right, so that's 8, 9 on the B. Now 11, 10, 8 on the high E. To 9 on the B. Then 10, 8 on the high E again. To the 9th fret a few times on the B. All right, now we start our descending phrase here. That's 8 on the B, 10, 8 on the G, to 10 on D. Now we actually have a repeated lick. So we have this, we're basically, we're going to be pulling off 8 to 6 on the D to 8 on the A. You're going to do that twice. To 6 on the D and back to the 8. So we have this. All right, so from that top. And you're going to end it with. That's quick little hammer from 5 to 6, back to 5 on the pull off, back to 5 on the D, to 8 on the A, and then pull off 6, 5 on the A, over to 8 on the low E. All right, so let me go through that whole phrase slowly. All right, so that's one of the longer ones. The key to that kind of stuff is find the patterns in it, which I'm trying to show you. If there's a pattern, it helps you memorize it if he's kind of just repeating a lick. All right, but not all of them are going to be that many notes. All right, so let's take a look at the second phrase. All right, so this one doesn't have a lot of fast licks in it, but it does have a lot of bends, and they're very important to how those bends are played. So I'll work you through it here. So we're going to start here with another kind of phrase similar to the first one. So that's bend at the 10th fret on the G, to 8 on the B, 8 on the high E, pull off 11 to 8 on the B. Then a bend there at the 10th fret again. Then 10, 8 on the G, 10 on the D twice, and a quick little 8 on the G string. So this. All right, now to the melodic part. All right, so we're going to start there with the 13 on the B string. 11, 13, 11. Now the bends. We're going to start here at the 13th fret on the high E, bend up a whole step twice. Then you're going to pick it again and release it. Down to the 11. Then pick 13 again and then pre-bend it. So you got to hear that note already. So we have this. And then slight bend at the 11th fret there. Then 13, 11, and then back to a couple of bends at the 13th fret. Back to normal. then a pre-bend, release that, pull off to 11, 13, bend, and then bend to 11. So the key here is just memorize the melody and just really try to pick up the articulations, whether it's a pre-bend or something like that. So let me play through it real slow for you so you can just kind of repeat this little part or something so you can get the melody down. All right, so a little bit tricky there, even though it's just a couple of notes, but you're just bending the crap out of it, so it really can do some damage to your fingertips. So practice it just a few minutes at a time. All right, so let's take a look at the third phrase real quick. All right, some more crazy bending action here. We're gonna start here with so that's 16, 15 on the high E. And then you're gonna play the 13 on the high E and to the B string, just rake across and slide that 13 on the B down to the 6th fret. Then 8, 9, 11, 8, 9, 8, 10 on the G. All right, then from there we go to a 9, 11 on the B. Bend that 11, grab the 11 on the high E. You've seen that in the first video. All right, and then we're going to set up for these next minutes with 13, 16, 13 on the B. And now we do these big 2.5 step bends at this 16th fret. You need to make that sound like the 20th fret. All right, so that's 2 whole steps, and you'll hear the other strings ringing as he's doing on his guitar. He's not muting those other strings, so you can kind of hear it a little bit in the mix. It's because he's bumping into those other strings. He's bending into them. So we have this. So you do that 3 times. Then jump up here to the 18th fret and do the bend, just a whole step bend to that note. And then basically the third section of this lick is after that second bend. It's a thing of picking it, then releasing the bend, but you don't hear the release, you just hear the normal note, and then pre-bend. So that's kind of tricky just to hit that bent note, pre-bent, without any kind of reference. So we have this, that last one, hold it to 16, and then 17 on the G string. So real quick. All right, so let's take a look at the next phrase now. All right, so that was probably the fastest lick of the entire thing, but he does repeat a pattern throughout most of it. So, well, it's a couple patterns. So let's take a look at it here. So we're gonna start with the same little kind of blues thing, 10th fret bend, 10 on the B, 10 on the high E, back to 8 on the B. So now here we. Now we have this pattern, which is just based around C minor pentatonic. So now the pattern is this: you're going to pick the B string, 8th fret, hammer on the 11, pull back off to the 8th fret, and then play 10 on the G, 8 on the B, 10 on the G. So that fits those notes there between the second and third string in the C minor pentatonic. He takes that same pattern and now does it one string lower, staying within the notes. So that's going to be 8, hammer 10, pull off to 8, 10 on the D, 8 on the G, 10 on the D. So it's the same pattern. Then he continues. That's hammering 8 to 10 on the D, then 10 on the A, 8 on the D, 10 on the A, and then same thing. So all together. Same pattern done 4 times. Then he quickly goes 8, 11 on the low E to 8 on the high on the A string, and then we start an ascending pattern. So that's same thing. Sticking with the same scale form, we have, which is 10 on the A, 8 on the D twice. You're picking it this time, and then play 10-8. And then do the same thing on the D and the G. All right, and now we have this, we go back into this phrase. All right, so we're gonna play here that bend here, the 10th fret, 8 on the B, 8 on the high E string. You're gonna pull off 11 to 8 on the B, then 11 to 8 on the high E, then 10 to 8 on the high E. So all together. Over to 10 on the B. Yep, it's out of key, but it goes by so fast it doesn't really matter. All right, so we had this up to the 8th fret again on the high E, and then bending at the 11th fret on the G. So on the B string. All right, so coming out of that, we basically we're just messing around. He comes out with a quick little 8th fret on the B, bend to the 10 on the G, back to 10 on the 8 on the B. Sorry, I'm getting all mixed up here. And then 10, 9, 8 on the G. So that's coming out of. All right, and now we have this 10 on the D to 10 on the G to the 8 on the G, and then kind of hold up on that 10th fret. And now it gets a little bit more simplified. We're going to go 8, 10, 8 on the G to 10 a few times on the D, and then just do 10, 8 on the G, kind of staccato to those 10s again, and then again. And then we're going to launch into the. So we're basically just out of that sliding 10 to 12 there on the G, 11 on the B, 10 on the high E. So there's that bend right there. And then play 13, 10, 13. Another bend there to 13, and then 13, 10, then 10, 12, and 11 on the B a couple times. All right, and then we're going to start the last phrase. We'll take a look at that real quick. So we're going to start here with this familiar phrase we played in the intro solo. But now when we get to the 13s on the high E string, bend them 3 times. Then play 13 normal, and then 13 bend again, 11 to 13 on the B. All right, now he has this quick little familiar blues lick in the middle. That's just a bend of the 10 on the G, 8 on the B, 10 on the high E, pull off 11 to 8, bend to the 10, pull off 8 to 10 on the D. And we're going to finish the solo with, that's just 13 on the B, 11, 13, 11 on the high E. Couple of bends at the 13th fret. Release that bend, pull off to the 11th fret. Couple more bends at the 13. You release that bend. Now 11th fret bend, that last 11th fret, he's actually, you hear that B string in there with it. He just, by doing that bend, slight bend, he actually grabs that B string, and then the 13th fret on the B. All right, so in the next and last lesson, now that we've gotten through that epic solo, we're going to take a look at the remaining section of the song, another like 2.5 minutes or so of the song. All right, I'll see you then.